Morning. To the tent. Coffee tent. Wow.
I don't see a license. That's a £5 fine. Oh well, I'll get another one because today's the day I'm going to strike it rich. The trooper would get £2.50 every time he ripped up a license or they didn't have one. So it was a gamble. But we had law and order here. Parts of Melbourne, things haven't changed. Now, suppose that you did get here.
True.
Suppose that you managed to get a gold mining license. Imagine that you managed to keep it, not rip it up. Then you could legally go and search for gold. My story continues over here.
Okay, look at him going.
Come on up. Do my voice a favour. Now, as the miners did in the 1850s, you just did, as you came over the crest of the hill, you would hear the goldfields before you saw them. They would be crowded, completely overrun by miners. Not those miners, the bigger miners, the major miners. The creek was the lifeblood of gold in 1851. This is alluvial gold. Gold that has been eroded from the hills, washed down to the lowest point, generally the creeks. And the creeks is where it happened. They would be mining for gold there. They're living around the edges of the creeks. They would wash with animal fat soap in the creek. So it's not just churned over by searching for gold. They would wash their clothes with animal fat soap in the creek. They would do their business. They would dig a trench next to their tent. Oh, and then it would rain and wash down into the creek. Eureka! I found a nugget! That is shit. That's a shit joke. So the creek is where it happened. Now, first of all, you could literally pick the gold out of the creek. That was the first wave. Word got back home. It would take them months to get back home. Change the lights, come back. The second wave came. The third wave came. The surface alluvial gold started to deplete. So then we moved on to the next phase, digging. Because miners were more experienced ones, and we had a lot of miners from Cornwall in England. They were experienced tin and ore miners, and they brought a lot of their skills over here. They realized that over time, riverbeds changed their direction. So they started looking for old riverbeds. And we've gone now into shallow lead mining, as demonstrated by this mining well here, this shaft. This was a more expensive process, however. You needed equipment. You needed timber, rope, canvas, steel. You needed at least 3 people to operate the mine. It was a more experienced process, but a lot more profitable. This is a perfectly well constructed mine here. It's timbered well above the surface. If you didn't timber it all the way down, moisture and clay swells, literally swallowing miners whole. You've got canvas sock to suck air and blow air down into the mine. You've got steel and rope to pull the dirt and the gold out. It's timbered well above the ground, and this is a reason for this, is that once you're digging, it's labor intensive to take that dirt somewhere else and dump it.
Interesting.
So you would just dump it over the edge of the mine. This is before, this is the after mine. You can see now it's come straight up to the lip of the mine. So that's how they've just dug and thrown it over the edge. We put a steel cage over this one for protection of young children and the likes. But the miners, there was no electricity, no street lights, candles. If miners were imbibing a little, they could literally fall into the very mine that they were digging. So it was a dangerous time. But life on the goldfields wasn't just about digging and looking for gold. It was about the people. And if you're still with me and you're still interested, follow me, we'll go meet some people.
Wow, that's deep, eh? Oh man, you don't want to fall down there. Like the nice shade. Go, Jenna. I like that. Coffee.
Even back then, eh?
They knew what was important.
That's it.
Try to go on the edge.
Ah, some familiar faces. Come on round. Now, like I said, it wasn't just about digging. What the life on the goldfields was about the people. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention, first of all, the most important people on the goldfields. The ones that were intuitive, the ones that were forward thinking, the ones that had the foresight to bring certain things that changed the life on the goldfields. I'm talking about the most important, the most intelligent people on the goldfields.
The women?
The women. Yes. Am I right, ladies?
Yes.
Am I right, ladies?
Yes.
That's right. It was the women that brought commerce to the goldfields. And without commerce, the goldfields itself would have basically imploded. Men came with this pompous sense of self-importance. I'm going to be the self-made man. I'm going to provide for my family. For every 100 miner, 5 maybe made a fortune. 45 did okay. 50% basically starved. But it was the women that kept the goldfields and kept most of the miners alive. If you were a married miner, you would eat better than the single men, because the women had the foresight to bring grains, small animals, could cook while they were mining. Yeah, they also ran businesses, soups and meals. They would advertise on their tents what they did. Their addresses were, as you can see, the flags. There were no street addresses. You just went to the green flag with them, or the blue flag, or whatever. So that's how they advertised where they were at. Now, as I said earlier, miners will be miners. They drink and fight. At one stage, when the gold was first invented here, or found, Victoria was a dry state. During the Prohibition, alcohol was illegal. But there were certain women of the goldfields called, just checking there are no troopers around Polly, sly grog sellers. And this is Polly O'Shea. Polly is a true character here on the goldfields, and she existed in the 1850s, known as a sly grog seller. Soup, meals, coffee, because it was tax-free, tea, because there were a lot of English, and other drinks. Sly grog. Now, Polly had to be very, and they were called sly grog sellers because they had to keep it secret from the troopers. How's your baby, Polly?
Oh, little Ginny. Well, she's very spirited,
Ginny.
folks. She's very spirited.
She's a little barrel-chested as well, but that's all right. Now, Polly on the goldfields was reported to be, prior to giving birth, reported to be pregnant for at least 3 years continuously. But that's what you had to keep it a secret. Now, like I said, the miners got 50% of any fines that they would impose. If you were caught as a sly grog seller, it was a £50 fine. £50 fine, plus you were slapped in chains. The copper, or the trooper, got £25. His annual fee was 24. so he could make his money in a single go. Polly, what's on offer? Like, what do you got for us?
Well, I've got a few things. I've got gin. We've got Dublin whiskey. I've also, the specialty, blow your smoke off. I've forgotten that one. It's a little bit of opium, a bit of black powder. Just don't be drinking it near any local flames.
Opium's to get you coming back. Gunpowder's for the little bit of a kick and to disguise the flavour. So if anybody wants to, please do Polly a favour. Come back a little bit later so you don't draw attention, especially if there's the truth around. Now, we're just going to pop down here because I want to introduce you to one of the two most wealthy men on the Goldfields.
I'll come around. Oh, so cute.
Wow, we'll see. We'll see how we go.
Depends on how well you sell it.
All right, folks. This is Mr. Crease, purveyor of fine meats, constipation and malnutrition.
Constipation.
You said you're going to sell it.
One of the two most wealthy men on the Goldfields. The blacksmiths, of course. If you had horses, you needed to get your horses shoes. You needed to have tools and equipment, steel. So the blacksmith ran a roaring trade, as did never put your hand on a butcher's block, Mr. Crease, the butcher. Now, like I said earlier, when the British first came, it was about sheep. This was all sheep farming. So, of course, what we have on offer here is mutton.
Mutton is?
And more mutton. Now, if you don't know what mutton is, it's the other end of the sheep. The sheep are the lamb is the young one. The mutton is the old one. All the good cuts went to the officers or went to the cities. So, but nothing went to waste.
No, absolutely not. All of the insides turn into candles and waxes and soaps and things. All the wool in our wagons down here get turned into bedding, into clothing, and then we ate everything else. So I've got some lovely sheep's brains in this one if you want them. I've got some lamb's tongues out the back I could do for you. Some prairie oysters if you wanted them.
Now, for those of you who don't know what prairie oysters are, and our Episcopalians know enough to know we're nowhere near a toast, prairie oyster, every sheep has two of them, and you'd have a ball eating them. Alright? Yeah. Now, of course, mutton. If you didn't know how to cook mutton, first of all, because we didn't have refrigeration. Electricity wasn't available at this stage, so you bought only what you could afford or only what you could keep and eat as soon as possible. You would cook it with an old boot, and when the boot was tender, possibly the meat would be as well. Don't get rid of the maggots, that's just protein. Alright, so nothing went to waste. Alright, now, if you do eat mutton occasionally, if you didn't have a wife that had grains and smaller plants, you could do it with damper, which is like a flatbread made of flour and water.
I remember that.
So malnutrition was huge. So was, as I mentioned earlier, constipation. Now, if you were constipated, and more often than not you were, what you'd do is you'd head up to the apothecary, the chemist, and you'd get yourself a rhubarb pill. Now, for the kids who don't know this, sweet lollies now used to be medicine, and they made them sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. They eucalyptus, they had rhubarb, and rhubarb was good for clearing you out. So that was your first option. If that didn't work, and this is a true story, you could get yourself an everlasting pill. Now, an everlasting pill was basically a lead ball, and you would force that down, let gravity do its work. When you heard the clink in your chamber pot, you were pretty much clear. Take it out, wash it off, share it with the family, use it again, the everlasting pill. I reckon the commissioner came up with that idea. Alright.
You laugh now, you're going to need it.
Now, power on the Goldfield was important. Thank you, Mr. Crease. If you are interested in sharing a little bit of your gunpowder elixir with a little bit of mutton, just come back and see Mr. Crease. He'll sort you out. Now, of course, power was huge on the Goldfield. And we've gone from manpower, the digging, we then moved over into horsepower. And we've got this beautiful little horse here. This was the next phase of power on the Goldfields. This horse would be used to use equipment. It would be, there we go, into that bracket there, go round in there. This would turn this, dropping ropes down the shaft, pulling miners in and out of the shaft. They were used for other uses as well, such as
So you ride the horse around, you pull your carriages with them, plough the fields, anything that we use auto vehicles for these days, horses were used for back then.
So we've gone from manpower to horsepower, and then finally, after a while, when all the shallow digging was finished, we moved on to
We're taking pictures here. I can't even get around.
The Red Hill mine was one of the first industrial mines that we used. Now if you want to have a look at this, they are 12-minute tours. They go every 7 minutes. The price is included in your ticket. So they are free for you to just go in there. Go underground, there's a little bit of a story. If you want to know more about steam power, you can go up to the top of there by the big chimney at the top, and there are 45-minute self-guided professional guides who will take you through into a quartz mine. 45-minute tours for there. They're $8 for adults, $4.50 for children. There are family prices as well. Definitely worth going. There's also gold panning, so give it a go yourself. You may be.
Yay, good job, Chana. Look for gold.
Okay.
I'm sure she won't.
Look up again. Love it.
Good job, girl.
Oh, there's Amanda.
So,
Where's Chana gone? Yeah, can you come?
just make sure you get plenty of water into it.
Yep.
And as you shake it, the gold will work its way down to the very bottom because it's heavy,
Yeah.
very heavy. So you just
Okay.
go round and round, and the lighter soil will then remove itself,
Yep.
which is all of the larger rocks.
Okay.
Ah,
Ah.
and you look for sparkles.
And then how do you know whether, like, does it really sparkle?
But yeah, it shines. It should shine. So you then very gently shake your pan once you've got a small handful,
Yeah.
and then better, and then you very gently just move.
Oh yeah, there's one up there. Woohoo!
So once you know what you're looking
Eureka!
for, it stands out.
Oh wow.
That's amazing.
I need to get my camera. Don't touch it yet, Chana.
I've got it on the GoPro.
Make a photo of it because that's probably the only gold we're going to find.
No.
That's cool, eh?
Oh, see, it doesn't shine as much on the camera.
Depends on the lighting. Yeah, wow, it's amazing how much it shows.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
what do you do with that? Can you do anything with it?
So you can buy jars up at the Waterloo store for $1.
Which I've got.
There you go. So whatever gold you find, you can put in there.
Oh, really?
Take home with you.
The vials?
Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, see, that's better. Stay like that. Maybe that'll do it better. Oh yeah, that looks a bit better. Oh god. Ah, there we go.
Did you watch how to do it, Chana?
Yeah.
Let's go. Do you want me to record you doing it?
If you have any more trouble, then just come let me know.
So do we
you.
then take this?
Rush period. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a bit of a look around here, because what's going to happen is once we get underground, a lot of this is going to come into play. We're virtually going to be going in reverse. So we're going to be starting off with the latter part of the 1800s when all this machinery had started to come into place. That wasn't how it started. 1851, when they officially found gold here, it was all in the streams. It was alluvial, surface gold. Has anybody been gold panning today? Did you get any gold?
Did you?
Yeah, much?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. That's what happened. A lot of that surface gold was depleted very, very quickly. A lot of people descended. That's still fairly impressive. That's better than what I can do. All right. A lot of people descended upon Ballarat, and that surface gold was gone very, very quickly. So they started digging below the ground. They realized there was ancient riverbed systems that had been compressed with volcanic action. So obviously if there's gold on the surface of the rivers, there's gold underground in the rivers. And because gold's heavy and melts, it tended to group together. That's why you get these big, large nuggets and veins. So they started digging. Only problem is, they get to about 20 metres, they hit a water table. So if they didn't find their quartz, they didn't find their gold, they have to come up, start digging somewhere else. What we're seeing now is the result of the industrial age kicking in, latter part of the 1800s. Now suddenly we have these large pumps, this arm going forward and back is pumping water out of the mine. That sound, that crunching sound you can hear over there, the banging, that's the battery house. It's crushing all the quartz that's going through it. As we go underground, we're going to see the underside of all of these workings, yeah? Now to do that, we're going to catch a tram. That tram moves quite slowly, but it will get pitch black dark for about 2 minutes. Please refrain from using torches or your phones, yeah? You really need that 2 minutes to help your eyes to acclimatise to being down in the mine, yeah? I'll have a torch anyway, so I'll be guiding you guys through. Mind your head as you're getting on the tram as well too, because it is quite low. It's steel, I know, I've felt crap of that myself. So watch your heads as you're getting in. All right, follow me folks and we'll get underway. Watch the step that's going around here.
Jenna's staying close.
Have your tips out too, please, if you wouldn't mind. You're going to be my side today, are you?
She wanted to go out the front.
Jenna, stay behind.
All right, you guys are...
They're our leaders for the day, obviously.
I think them two will be at the front.
Yeah, I know, that's what I mean, they're our leaders for the day. Oh, that's funny. Look at them both going.
Orderly and make sure these people are all doing the right thing, all right? So you guys got to keep all these people in control, yeah? So I have everyone just lining up over that way. I'm just going to swing this door back.
Oh, wait, which one? Oops. I'm sorry. This is cool. How many people is it seats? Them two could sit together.
Yeah.
Front.
They can sit in the front if they want. Yeah,
Sit together.
Yeah, they can sit together. Come on.
We made him shy now.
It
No,
goes
don't be
quite slow.
shy.
It's not scary. It just gets dark. Come on. Where do you want to go?
Go on the edge, Jenna.
Do you want to go on the edge or the middle? You want to go middle? Okay.
This is cool. Wow, this looks scary.
over
Oh
past me
my
then.
gosh, can't believe
Move
we're
over.
going in.
So I can get in my...
You want to go in the middle?
It goes pitch black.
Wow.
Okay, I'm gonna take my cap off.
You don't have to take the cap off.
It's all right. It doesn't go that.
So there was a gent sitting directly in front of me who was asking how deep we are. What you're going to think of here is we're going to be staying on the same level, but our depth is going to change. Sovereign Hill very much is a hill. So what we've done is we've come down virtually on the edge of the hill. So if you were to go outside and have a look around there, you'd see it's only just over there, you'd be out, it'd be level ground, but you'd be looking straight back up at a hillside, yeah? So what's going to happen, as we work our way around here, we're going to get deeper and deeper as we go into where it's starting to get higher and higher on the mountain. But first, before we go anywhere, how's everyone feeling? Everyone feeling comfortable?
Yes.
Yes.
Everyone happy to keep going?
Yes.
All right, because now's the time to tell me if not, because once we get start moving, we have to keep moving forward. So everyone good?
Yep.
Fantastic, that's what I like to hear. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to head down this way shortly. I'm going to be leading the way. As we go through, you'll find there's a gate. That's a gate that leads us.
I say I like the hot, so...
We're all sort of fighting on really hot days.
These two are
To get down
Canadians,
here.
So they need to get reacclimatised by the time they get back.
Yeah, true, eh?
It stays about, well, there's a lot of mining going on in Canada.
I live in a mining town,
Yes,
coal
yeah.
mining. And there's I have friends that work at gold mines.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of people from Canada come over and they talk about their, where they live and how there's a lot of gold mining going on.
Wow, yes.
Huh? Yeah, so this is all back up and running again. So obviously we had to shut down a lot of things through the pandemic. To give you a bit of history with this, what's happened is we have walked along a drive. Did everybody see that caged off area off to the right hand side as I'm coming through?
Yes.
All right, there's a good reason why that's caged off. That is the original entrance to this mine. Everything else is still down below it. 1,165 feet, so 400 metres of mines, yeah? So anyway, that was the original entrance. So that's been now, we've cut that off so you can't get through there. This is the secondary entrance. So when we were up on the surface and I pointed out those things behind us, there was the large tower, the Toppin Head, yeah? We're standing directly below that right now. So what happens is we've moved around, and we've worked our way back around underneath there. So we've now gone from only being about 55 feet underground to being about 80 feet underground as we're getting deeper and deeper into the mine area. So today we're going to stay on the exact same level, but our depth will change, yeah? And we're going to go see a few different types of mining. So like I said, we're going in reverse. What we've done now is we've gone into a company mine. So this particular company mine was actually 2 mines to start off with. That was the original mine entrance over there, the one you walked past that was caved off. It was called the Speedwell number 3 mine. It was actually quite an interesting mine for Ballarat because it was part owned by a lady, which was very, very rare back in those days. So her name was Alice Cornwall, and she became known as Madam Midas because everything she touched turned to gold. So that was a nickname. Anyway, she was quite profitable. And anyway, so she sold the mine out in 1901 to the new Normby mine over the back there. They then ran the drive that we're going to walk through today, and they ran in conjunction until 1917 when both mines closed down. A lot of the mining was starting to dwindle by 1917, and one of the death knells was World War I. Strangely enough, men wanted to go and fight a war overseas rather than work in mines back in those days, so they couldn't get enough people to man the mines, so over time they became less profitable and they shut down. Alright, so section here, so we're directly below the popping head. So this is called the safety cage. Look pretty safe to you guys?
Yeah.
Believe it or not, back in the day though, this was the height of safety, yeah? So, other than that, they were dangling down on ropes and stuff like that, not on rope ladders and stuff. So what they do here, this was designed for 1 ore cart or for 2 miners. So what they do is they load their quartz in, and you're going to have 2 lots of ore carts. You can have the one that's got the stuff they don't want. Your slate, your basalt, all that sort of stuff, dirt, rock, sand. That's going in one which goes off to that big mound, the mullet heap we're going to set up on the surface. All the good stuff, the quartz, is on here, straight off to the battery house where you can hear them crunching through earlier on, yeah? So there's 2 lots of stuff going out, plus miners. The miners had to get in and out this way as well too. So they're jumping on here, and they're crawling up to the top. So I'm going to go try and raise it up. Over we're here, 4 in here, and that's lifting either the ore carts or the miners up. It's not going that slow. At 1,100 feet, if it was travelling at that speed, it would take all day. That thing was travelling at 6 feet per second. Pitch black dark, there was no lighting in those, so they were going up and down 1,000 feet in the pitch black dark. Wow. Talk about a white knuckle ride, yeah? All right, now the reason why they wanted to jump on there is the only other chance they had of getting out of the mine is flying up a ladder. An hour and a half to climb from the lowest level if you were a fit young miner. You've just worked a 12-hour shift, sir. You want to climb up an hour and a half ladder? Me neither. I work an 8-hour shift here and I'm happy to get up a ladder. Alright, so they're getting on the safety cages and they're getting out. Some of the mines had inclined trams like we came down on, yeah? There was more safety cages and inclined trams, but there was about 4 to 5 mines in Ballarat that had the inclined tram system as well too. Alright, now the last thing, the noisy thing here, which I keep getting in trouble for because everyone keeps saying why can't you make it go quieter, is our pump. So this is the Cornish beam pump. This is pumping water out of the mine 24/7. If this stops, the mine fills with water. So the boilers up the top there, back in the day, would be going. They're providing steam. You've got the steam engine, that big arm that was going forward and back. Yeah, everyone see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's on the end of this. That's a pump. It's pumping water out. Okay? It's just on a constant cycle. So that's keeping the water out of the mine. Now, if that stops, breaks down, they have to get out of the mine pretty quickly. Otherwise, it's going to fill with water. All right. Now, hopefully I've given you a bit of a lay of the land. Now I guess the question on everyone's lips is, where's the gold? Where is the gold?
Gone.
No, it's also around. Want to go see it? All right, I'll lead the way. Yeah, you guys just keep moving around. So what we have here is a large vein of quartz. If you have a look over the back there, you'll see, if I can just go up the front here, over the top here we have our basalt, our slate, all that sort of stuff. This here is a nice vein of quartz. What they realised pretty quickly through volcanic action is that all the quartz veins, without fail, in Ballarat, run north to south on a 45-degree angle. That never varies, yeah? So once they knew that knowledge, they started getting very good at finding where the quartz and the gold was. So if you can imagine this as 100 times this scale, shaft coming down here, they cut through the quartz. When they cut through that quartz, they can then send drives off across like that. So they'll go through the centre of it, they'll try and find where those other veins are and meet up with them as they're going down, yeah? The other thing they're looking for is, can anyone see that black staining there? That's called an indicator mark, yeah? So the indicator mark, it's the stain that happens with the chemical reaction with all the rock around it, the quartz, and where the gold is. So they're using their knowledge of 45 degrees, they're using their indicator lines, and then they're digging, crushing, blasting, whatever they can to try and get as much quartz out. Now the reason why they've got to get a lot of quartz out is they worked on the average of 10 grams of gold per tonne of quartz. To give you an indication, this mine was running for 30 years and it got 1.5 tons of gold out of it, which is big for those days, small fry for these days. The current working mine, which is in Ballarat, pumps out 1 ton of gold every year. Still working on 10 grams a tonne though. So that goes to show you how much quartz they're still getting out of these mines. Literally millions of tonnes of quartz. So they had to work pretty hard. So let's put it in perspective. This is a company mine. You had miners that would come down, they would work 6 days a week, usually 8 to 10 to 12 hours depending on which company it was. And they got paid really, really well for it. They got £3 a week, or the equivalent of about $6 or $7. Sound impressive? No. For those days it was actually quite a lot though. The average wage back in those days was about £1 a week. So they, like miners today, they got paid quite well, but it was very dangerous as well too. So what we'll do is as we go along, we're going to start to then focus on the industrial age and the different machinery that they're using. Now, what's happening is the industrial age is kicking in. So down there you see a pick and a hammer. That's what they used to have to do because they had to get so much quartz out of the mine. They were actually knocking holes around the quartz, and this even predates dynamite. So they were putting gunpowder in there and exploding it out. Then dynamite came along and they started using that. Yeah. What you're seeing here, you guys can't see it yet, but as you come up, it is a rock drill. So then in the latter part of the 1800s, they started building rock drills. Suddenly now you had compressed air coming from the surface, coming down, and they're operating. So instead of doing it by hand, they can now punch holes out very, very quickly. Back in the day, there would have been a dozen of these rock drills all working away in there. Now, these rock drills were great. It shortened the length of time greatly. The only thing is... Oh, sorry.
Hello.
You right? How you go?
Hello, just ignore me.
That's all right, that's all right. Well, do we need to ignore the gold that you found, though? We were talking about people... Hey, you know what I was saying about before about people getting down and knocking off the gold? All right. Yeah, so interesting though, this drill got known by a interesting name, the Widowmaker. The Widowmaker, yeah. Now, it wasn't that it was dangerous to use, it was actually quite a safe bit of equipment, apart initially from going deaf from it. The main problem was the quartz dust. So what's happened there is they're digging in, they're not wearing any masks. That dust, it's like asbestos. It's okay until you breathe it in. Quartz has silica in it, which is like a glass fibre. They're breathing in this glass fibre 10, 12 hours a day. Some of the miners only lived till they were in their early 30s. So they were down here 6 days a week, constantly breathing those in. So, yes, you get paid well, but the health implications. Back in those days, times were tough. Just don't go wandering too far in there. Times were tough, yeah, so they did what they had to do. So let's put it in perspective now. Okay, so you got paid well, you work 6 days a week, you don't get to keep the gold. And they would search you if they had to, if they're going out. What about if you could keep all the gold that you found? Does that sound a little bit better? Would you like to keep all the gold that you find?
Yeah.
No? Yeah, you might be onto something there. All right, so now we're going to step back in time into a different type of mining where you got to keep all the gold that you found, but you had to find it first. So we'll reserve our judgments until we have to look at it. We have stepped back in time. I love this part of the mine because there's a lot of mystique about it. The coolest thing about this mine is we don't know a great deal about it. The things that we do know is that we discovered this by accident. So we've gone back in time. This is an independent mine. So this was an earlier period. So what happened there was you would get your miners right. You'd be given an area, or you may simply have somewhere in your area that you've got allotted out. You may just grab your hat, throw it on the ground, and start digging. Hope for the best. you're going to dig down. But this predates any of those pumps out there. So if you get to 80, 90 feet, you don't find any quartz, you're going to hit water. You have to come back up again, move somewhere else and dig down, so on and so forth. So it was really the luck of the draw. Some people had inside information, thought they knew, whatever, sands like this, get a bit of wire and go like that, all those sort of things to try and find where the quartz were. But a lot of time it was just pure luck. So this particular mine was discovered by accident in 1976, so 6 years after Sovereign Hill opened up. Up until that point, I had no idea this space was here. That mine stopped over there. We ran that cut through. So that particular mine was potentially even below here, but they never came into this area. So it was sitting here idle for a very long time. How we found out about it is we were putting this train track through. They'd come through, burst into an area. They've had a look around and thought, geez, this looks like it's a mine. Anyway, so they got the experts in, they've measured it all out, done some testing and said, yes, 100% it was a mine. It's a Cornish stope and pillar mine, so independent. So you've got to go back. When a lot of people descended upon Ballarat, one of the main groups of people came from Cornwall and England. The main reason they did that is because they were already fantastic miners. They'd been mining for centuries in their own company with tin, copper, and I believe lead as well. So it was in their veins. They were all miners. They came out here and they adapted to gold very, very quickly. Now, how they know it's a Cornish stope and pillar mine is the way it's designed. Stope is step in Cornish. They would cut them out and they would step them. They'd also use a pillar, so you can't see it, but right at the back down there is a massive pillar right down the back. It is still holding up the lion's share of this mine. Even though we've put shotcrete and rock drills and all that sort of rock bolts and that sort of stuff in there, that is still holding up most of the mine. So it's a testament to their engineering skills. It's still over 150, maybe 170 years later. It's still standing here as it was. All right, so we worked out they were Cornish. We worked out they probably worked in a small group of about four to 5 men, usually family members. They all stuck together. That's about as far as we know, because independent miners didn't have to keep records, so they rarely did. What we can tell you, though, is that goes roughly 20 metres down that way. That goes roughly 20 metres down that way. That's on a 45-degree angle. So what do you reckon was in here? Quartz. 500 tonnes of quartz. They've measured it out, was removed from this mine. About the size of a bus. Yeah? Was removed. Now, rock drills. No, they didn't have them. What they had was pick, shovel, sweat. That was what they did. It was all dug out by hand. And the next part of the puzzle for Sovereign Hill was how did they get in and how did they get out? That's a dead end. That's a dead end. We made this hole. So how did they get in and out? They had to search around. Eventually, they found a hole going downwards.
Tom.
Did they come from a lower level? What did they do? It's ridiculous. What they actually did was that as they've dug down, they've found quartz. They've dug underneath it and back up again. That way, so they dig down here and start digging out. What happens if that collapses? No way in, no way out. It's called a J-shaped mine, which is a Cornish technique as well. That way, if this starts to collapse, down here, across here, straight up, hopefully out of that danger zone, straight up to the surface, yeah? They didn't need to do that though. It's still standing, but they may have. All right, so what they had to do is they could go down here, and we actually had to trace up and go up through the guts of the entry point. What they had to do was punch through from underneath. Back in those days when they finished mining, they just cover it over with wood, rock, planks of wood, all that sort of stuff. And they put over the top of it, cover it over with dirt, and they'd go off and they'd start another mine, or hopefully they could retire. So that had been sitting there for over 100 years, about 150 years, and it was totally overgrown. So they had to actually cut that back out again. So if anyone wants to know where it is, candle makers. Anyone seen where the candle makers is today?
Yes.
Right. If you look right next to the candle makers, you'll see what looks like a big wishing well. It's a windlass. Yeah. If you look down, you'll be looking down 80 feet to where you've been standing today. So we're directly below that point as well. All right. So like I said, that's about all we know about this particular place. Apart from we can do a few estimates. The estimates is obviously with the 5 ton of 500 tonne. They should have got 5 kilos of gold out of here. But we don't know. I'd like to think that they got 20, 30 kilos. There were some mines, the biggest amount of gold that was found on Sovereign Hill was just over the back of the Canadian mine, which was 43 kilos. So that was one single nugget. So they may have done really well out of it. I like to think they did. They got a good, and the fact that to me, I think they did all right out of this. Because if you look here, there's all slate, there's no quartz. They've got every last little bit of quartz out of this mine. Would you do that if you weren't making any money out of it? Because unlike a company mine, if you're not getting gold out of here, you're not eating. So they had to be getting something out of here. So yeah, all the numbers say 5 kilos. They could have got 20, they could have got 30. Either way, it would have been a tough life. Both ways. You know, whether you're a company miner and you're potentially going to get silicosis, or you're an independent miner and you're either going to starve. And here's the figures. So back in the day when it was all independent mining, about 50% of the miners were starving, about 35% were making a good wage, and the rest made an absolute killing. So if you think about those numbers, you're only going to have 15 people out of every 100 that are going to absolutely strike it rich. 50% were starving. There's things that have been started up in Ballarat, like the old Colonist Club, that were there created just so they could actually feed the starving miners. So very hit and miss. So what have I done? Have I done a good job of selling gold mining to you guys? Anyone want to join? Anyone want to sign up? Anyone want a job?
I will.
All right, we've got one taken down the back there.
The Canadian.
There's always one. Well, there you go. It's in your blood as well too. There you go. And just so you know, in Canada, the people I've been talking about, they work on 3 grams a tonne, and we're doing 10 grams a tonne here, so we're actually doing quite good, which is
That's
good. Yeah.
good.
So it's it's a tough life. I mean, me personally, I think I'd rather own a pub or something like that, and just have the rich miners coming in, spending their money. I'm a bit lazy with that sort of stuff, but anyway, to each their own. So hopefully this has been informative. We haven't quite finished yet. We are going to go down here. As we go along, there's a couple of things to look at on the right side. Please watch your step. Try and straddle these lines if you can, and we'll walk along this way. So if you can all keep it. It's been in original mines, yeah? But they didn't have the luxury that you guys have had. They've been opened out, yeah? They've been opened out behind it. It's all been made nice and safe for everyone. This is more the size they were, yeah? So even though we were going through original drives, they were nowhere near that big. They weren't even as big as this. The guys that I know some of the group that broke into the old mine from underneath, they were saying it was just enough room, basically, to get through in parts like that as well. So very, very tight. They use, obviously, those lengths there. So they use a steel lengths there. So chain links, that was how they'd measure things, because if they brought rope down, they'd start to rot. So they're all vintage surveying equipment, but the guys that went down there said they couldn't believe how bolt straight most of those drives were. So they were pretty good engineers for their time, even using that sort of vintage stuff. Anyway, this thing's going to keep talking over the top of me, so let's get out of here.
Oh, look how small it was. Yay.
Different from the common garden variety blacksmith I've already met or are aware of. I don't make tools or picks or shovels for miners. I don't fix things. My job is far more impressive than that. My job is to purify and pour gold. To purify is to clean. In order to clean something, it has to be dirty. The gold you find naturally straight from the ground is never 100% pure. It always has other trace elements in it, such as silver, copper, nickel, tin, iron, all the different ratios depending on where you are. The gold found here specifically in Ballarat, however, is some of the purest gold you'll find anywhere in the world. It is already rated 22 carat naturally. 22 carat means it's over 90%. My job is to take that 22 carat gold and turn it into 24 carat gold, making it over 99.99% pure. So that way, when the mining company I work for goes on to sell that gold, they can sell it at a higher price, as it's in a more valuable condition. So just while my gold is heating up, I will talk to you a little bit about the history of gold here in Ballarat. So in 1851, they first discovered gold here. At that stage, anybody in their right mind would be able to find some gold. All you needed was a shovel, a pan, and a water source. Grab your shovel, grab some dirt, fill up your pan. Take your pan over to your water source, completely submerge it and mix up everything around it there. The gold will be the heaviest thing in the creek and in your pan. So when you mix it up, the gold will naturally sink to the bottom. You then scrape off the top couple layers and repeat that process over and over. Eventually, you'll just end up with a little bit of sand at the bottom and you'll be able to pick out your individual piece of the gold. You can try this for yourself down in the diggings. I imagine you all probably have already tried to find gold. Did anybody find any gold down there? Yep, perfect. Yeah, it's an artificial creek, but we do put real gold in there. That's where we keep our free samples. So, they tried to keep it a secret that there was gold here in Ballarat. Didn't work. Word quickly spread across the country and around the globe. Very soon there were too many people here. The surface gold pretty much dried up a lot. Pretty much became non-existent except for after heavy rainfall, like it still is to this day kind of thing. So, those with a bit of experience in mining know that if you dig down into the earth, you'll be able to find more gold. Those from the recent Californian gold rush came here, surveyed the environment, realized it was quite similar to that back in California. They knew they could trace ancient riverbeds down into the earth and they'd find an abundance of gold. So this was called deep lead mining. And yeah, around here is referred to as walking in the jewelry shop, because once you've dug a sufficient tunnel in the right spot, you can pluck gold nuggets from walls left, right and centre. About 10 years after the first discovery of gold, so in 1861, the mining company started to set up here. But they weren't looking for gold specifically, they were looking for this instead. Find a big gold nugget you can retire on, a little bit of skill, a lot of luck involved. A more reliable way to find gold is to look for this instead, quartz rock. It's a natural gold bearing ore, it doesn't have any nuggets usually, but it does have very fine veins of gold running throughout it, thinner than a blade of grass. Not worth much by itself, but if you're able to process it, take the gold out of it, put it all together, then it is worth something. So the mining companies needed a few things in order to do this. They needed a poppet head, a battery house, and a gold smelting works. Workers like myself to clean that gold. So, first step in quartz mining is to dig a really deep hole. Anywhere from 100 meters to a kilometer deep, you're going to find quartz reefs. Basically this, the size of this room, or even bigger. You drill into it, you fill it with black powder, you blast it to bits. Bits similar to these pieces here. The miners will then take it over to the pop head entrance, which will bring it to the surface using steam power. For those of you that don't know what a pop head is, it's basically that big tower over there. These rocks are then transferred to the battery house. We have an example of one of those just next door. In there, they're crushed on steam-driven hammers. Again and again and again, until they become a very fine dust.
Oh.
We then take this dust and wash it over a series of tables with grooves in them. When this dust is washed over these grooves, gold, being the heaviest part, will sink it with the rest of the dust washing over the top. Another element was added to the table called silver mercury. Mercury and gold have a natural attraction to each other. They like each other very much. So the mercury helps the gold stick to the table a little bit more. The result of the battery house is a thick, sticky paste we call an amalgam. That's where my job comes in. The mining company gives me that amalgam. My job is to remove, again, that nickel to tin, nickel, tin, copper, silver, the mercury now, remove all that, just be left with the gold. So I first remove my mercury. I do that by placing in the amalgam in a fancy cast iron pot, like this one here. It's called a retort. Place it in there, bolt the lid shut, place that into the furnace. 358 degrees later, the mercury will turn into a gas and escape out of this pipe here, flooding the room with toxic mercury gas. I'm not sure if you're all aware of the dangers of mercury poisoning, but it can cause the teeth to fall out, cognitive issues, memory loss, kidney failure, death. Your teeth can fall out, memory loss. Once they became aware of the dangers of mercury poisoning, they made a little addition to our retorts. They extended the pipe, and that pipe would extend into a cold bucket of water. Mercury still comes out as gas, hits that cold water, turns back into a liquid, storing that mercury in the buckets, preventing the mine blacksmiths from breathing it in, and also being able to reuse that mercury back in the battery house. Saving money, saving lives, win-win scenario. We then take what's left of the amalgam and place it in a crucible, like this one here. I then place on top of that amalgam a powdered flux called borax. This acts as a collector And for intended purposes, borax is kind of like the opposite of mercury. Doesn't like gold very much, but it will stick to everything else. I then place that in the furnace. Then I would wait 10 to 12 hours, constantly putting more and more wood and heating up until it eventually gets to 1,064 degrees. That's gold melting temperature.
Wow.
At that stage, everything in there will be liquid, the gold will be at the bottom, and all of those light impurities will be bubbling to the top and getting stuck to that borax, forming a crust. I can then simply scrape off that top layer, the crust, if it's bubbling over the top, or I can just start to pour. And as I pour, the gold will come out first, and the rest of the crust will just float to the back and get stuck in the crucible, like froth does when you're drinking a milkshake. So, leave me with the 99.99% pure gold in my mold. This is similar to the one I'm using today, carbon, graphite, silicon. Silicon makes it glow and look really pretty. This is what they would use back in the day, single use, made out of clay. And all those impurities, the silver, the copper, the nickel, tin, the iron, it would all just get thrown away in a pile because they were finding that much gold, it was that profitable, didn't really have to worry about anything else. My gold is just hitting 1,064 degrees now. It's just starting to melt and form a puddle. So, I don't want to take away from the heat source just yet though. I want to take it right up to 1,200 degrees. That'll allow me about 10 to 15 seconds to take it over the table and pour it out before I turn it back into a solid. If you want to record this part, get your devices ready now. Don't come any closer or stand up just for everyone's safety. So it is just now fully submerged. So now it takes an extra 20 or 30 seconds. It's really mesmerizing watching it bubble over. I wish they'd set up a mirror here. So
No, that'd be good.
Pretty important that I watch the gold now because this is the last quarter of the day. Whoever comes in tomorrow will be judging me. If you get it too hot, it's no big deal. Unless I take it right up to 2,000 degrees, then it starts evaporating, which means you don't want it. Alright, ready in 3, 2, 1. So, just this brief amount of time, the gold has transferred about 300 degrees worth of this heat into the mold. And it's now turned back into a solid. This is still 900 degrees. If this was made of any other material, you'd all be able to feel the heat radiating off in the front row there. But you could hold your finger or your nose just a millimeter away from it, and you'll still feel a very faint heat. That's because gold transfers pretty much all of its energy via touch or conductively. That's a very difficult time radiating that heat like you're sitting around a fire. I could let this sit like this for the next 3 hours before it's safe enough to touch, and I'm going to go home before then, so see you later. Just kidding, we'll give it another way to transfer that energy. Before I do that, I'll show you just how much energy this has. Some of you in the front row might try to imagine jumping the fence, grabbing it, running out the door. You would make it halfway the steps before it melted through your hand. As soon as you give it something to transfer that energy to, it will do so with gusto. Literally combusting this molecule here. So, I need to give it something to constantly touch. I've got a big trough of water.
Like oil. The water steam.
Alright, let's talk about the water first. Just a bit of an interactive part here.
You can smell
I
it.
just put a 900-degree block of gold in there. Hands up, I think the water's going to be hot. Naturally, no.
Yeah, it'll be
Well, hands up, I think the water's going to be warm. Hands up, I think the water's going to be cold. Yeah, so let's find out. The water is actually ice cold. The rate of heat transfer was that rapid that it instantly evaporated all the water that it touched. All that energy that was in the gold bar is now in the room around us. The safest way to
So we
figure
can
out if
smell it.
gold is safe enough to pick up is simply to get somebody else to pick it up. Just kidding, I'll pick it up, just like I have. Just kidding. Now room temperature, 99.99% pure gold, 24 carats, 3 kilograms, 103 ounces. Yeah. In today's value, currently worth $310,000. It's very heavy for its size, very shiny. You can put a tint in it, very soft metal, just like that. And yeah, it's also not mine. And usually I say here, so everyone has 310,000 reasons why I can't pass around the fridge and every one of you to hold it, but there's only a few of you here. So if you all promise to not have your runners on, you can all hold the bar if you like. Yeah. Cool. Alright, do you want to line up? Just here. Do you want to hold it? Let's try.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah. Just get your hands away from metal in case, you know, it's heavier than you expect.
Woo! How was that, Jenna? Really?
Reach for a minute.
You go, you go. Oh, all right. Sure.
I will do it.
After that, and then
Yeah, Joe, Jenna, help out. I'll put it on the video. Help out.
we'll have a quick look. We might come back after the mine tour. What time are you open till?
You can help too if you want to.
Oh, there's two.
Make your own candle here.
You can dip your own.
You can dip your own.
To make a candle, it's going to take you all day.
Oh, okay.
So we make them, and then you dip them.
Wow, it smells nice.
Some of these aren't cut in the middle, so they're just too lazy.
Yeah. So they'll just
Oh, yeah.
make it in some frangipani, but wash your hands before you eat something.
I love frangipani.
So you come through here.
Flour.
No, that's one of the ones that's not cut.
It's a flower that smells like
Oops,
frangipani.
sorry. It smells so nice. That's beautiful.
Well, frangipani is a beautiful smell.
And that's the dipping in. That's so nice. Wow, look at the machinery. Oh, up there then. They
Yeah,
dip them in.
that's what he said. You can dip your own.
Oh, you're fine, you're fine. That was nice.
Add colours on the ends if you'd like. Or you can keep it just like that.
That's a beautiful colour, huh? You can just dip a little bit on each side.
Just a tiny amount. I'll do a bit more than that, but
That's so cool.
Look up again.
and you can make orange on the other side or put in the pink side in a bit of yellow. Like half of the pink or something.
That is a nice colour. That looks great.
Cool. Look up and hold it up.
The pictures. Danger, don't throw anything down the shaft. Oh, son. Don't throw anything down the shaft. Wow, oh my gosh. Phew, my belly feels like really funny right now. Making candles in there. Oh, maybe they're getting ready for the parade.
each individual one. I'll let you do that way. Then, once you've got all your centres, you want to do your cross marks. So, run your centre scribe. So this is exactly 25. This must be 12.5 mil, which means that is 12.5 mil.
Do you want a garden stake?
How you stuff.
What else you got? Oh, for the fireplace. That's so cute. Yeah. Order a horseshoe with your own name on it?
Yeah. See it like here.
Did you see the price of it? No. Oh, $9 for a horseshoe. If you think you're going to get good luck. I love these little stakes for your garden.
Get to the souvenir shop.
Oh gosh.
Because I got a horseshoe magnet there.
Ah! For sale. That's pretty cool. Oh yeah, you're right. That's interesting. Yeah. Exactly, that's how they used to make it, out of clay. Or mud or poo.
I'm not touching that.
That's how it was made.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think they do it for here.
Oh, I smell poo because there's horse poo everywhere.
Oh, I've got to be careful where I step.
There is horse poo everywhere.
Say, look at that.
Horse poo. The roads used to be quite dirty. Ballarat times. They even had fences.
Alright, so this is Red
Ooh,
Bull
it smells.
Road, so that's here, so a little bit further up. There's a photo of me.
I got you here. Public demonstration, 11:30. Yay! Oh, actually, I need some of this. Wow, that smells great.
We're the only ones here.
Yay! For now.
For now.
Oh, wow. This is
Have you ever
amazing.
seen how this is done?
Toffee.
Have you seen
No.
how this is done? It's so cool.
Hello. Wow.
Yeah,
This is what homeschooling should be all about.
And they do toffee, and they do toffee apples here.
Raspberry drops for you. It's the most popular stuff in lollies. So I know it's a while. Like a lolly shop, so you spend from the main street. 50% of everything made raspberry. Has anyone had their dry raspberries on before? No. Yeah, good, thanks for that. They're usually at least someone had my demonstration.
Yeah.
At the moment, that's just red coffee. Just had the red colour about a minute ago. Turn off my fire and add the raspberry syrup for flavouring. Like cordial, souped up cordial. And that goes, I'll give that a quick stir, hold my breath, the base is quite strong, make you cough. Alright, here we go. It's 8.5 kilograms of liquid raspberry drops at this stage. So this has been caramelising for 1 hour, this batch. So take it approximately an hour. It's 5 pounds of water, it's a healthy component. We add 5 pounds of glucose. It's like a sugar gel derived from wheat, but it is gluten-free. And then we add another 15 pounds of sugar. So it works out in the metric system of about 8.5 kilograms in a batch. And that's the foundation for any product. So they all fully start the same. We just commit to at this stage to the different flavours and colours, and then a little later on the shape.
I'm not sure if I mentioned, it's 157 degrees Celsius. That was the temperature I was waiting for, the hard-boiled confectionery. Under that's a soft chewy toffee, over that's a burnt toffee. Now I didn't use the thermometer to gauge the temperature, got a bit of experience now, so I can just read the way the toffee's behaving, and of course I know what time I turned it on. Now it takes approximately an hour, but the toffee's really thickened up. They're a nice light straw honey colour. They're all great indications when it's ready. But if you're still unsure, what you can do simply is a cold water crack test, where you just drizzle a tiny bit of toffee into a cup of cold water. We'll set instantaneously, take it out, bend it. If it's flexible, pliable, it's under boil. If it snaps, cracks, you're on to go. That's a little tip if you're going to mess around with this at home. And if you're going to mess around with this at home, don't do what I'm doing, wear gloves. Because it's very unforgiving stuff. Alright, in that short time, the toffee has already formed a skin, which I can very carefully pinch, just fold back into itself. I like the final ingredients. This is citric acid, a sour component.
Oh, citric acid.
It's sour, but we're not after sour, we're after a nice tang. Don't want to go too crazy. 1.5 scoops. If you like your sour lollies, the best we do for you is the sour grape. That was 1.5 scoops. The sour grape has 3 scoops. The acid drops, the lemon one has 2, but yeah, we don't go, it's not our thing, we don't go too crazy with the sourness. So it is a matter of working that evenly through the batch. So I'll just keep folding the toffee. I'll probably give it a bit of a knead. And I want to give you a history lesson on Brown's confectionery. So we're the only business you'll come across today at Southern Hill that is not a recreation of a Goldfields business in Ballarat. They're a continuation of one. It's pretty amazing. So Brown's confectionery is 175 years old and still going strong, obviously. And it was founded back in England by John Brown, wife Elizabeth, and their young son Thomas. John was a pastry chef by trade, and being a pastry chef, he learned the craft of hard-boiled confectionery making. Now, with that said, unfortunately the family was forced to move to Australia due to health concerns for their son Thomas. He was a very ill boy, he couldn't breathe very well, so the doctors recommended a warmer climate with high quality air. Coinciding with the gold rush, they followed the gold rush crowds to the town of Denali, 100 kilometres north of Ballarat. They set up a factory there, purely focusing on confectionery, as their base is already established in town. And it was going really well. High quality product. Thomas made a full recovery. The only problem was, when Thomas ended up being head confectioner, he burnt the factory to the ground. Very common back in the day, wooden buildings, candlelight and whatnot. The fire brigade fights not quite efficient as they are these days. But yeah, the house and the family business was lost, and that's when they moved to Ballarat. Built a big lovely brick building, operated out of that for 90 years, generation after generation, until 1974, when Jack Brown had the decision to make. He was the last man standing in the whole business. The younger generations had opted out, the older generations had retired, and then Jack decided to donate Browns to Sovereign Hill on some conditions. He did the training, and that makes complete sense. Once we built a factory, which we're standing in, and we promised to keep their traditions alive, don't cheapen the sweet in any way, keep it full flavoured as they were renowned for, and that's what we've agreed to do. Now, the traditions have been changed ever so slightly due to occupational health and safety, a few handy little inventions which are literally game changers, electricity, gas fires, running water, things like that, but it is as traditional as we can get. Yeah, so imagine having wood fires going today. As with the gas is on or off, very simple. I'm shutting down. I'm not doing another demonstration for a while today. We've got good stock levels, so we preempt that. Yeah, we don't want it too hard, obviously, here in the summertime. A lot of heat coming off the table, off your back, fires on your back, whatnot. Pretty hard. But they didn't have that convenience. They would have been working all day in the heat. But just the fact you can do this, hot water coming out of the tap, they didn't have taps, and the water in town was too highly polluted, you couldn't use it. We destroyed the rivers and streams very early on in the piece looking for gold. There was no sewage system in place, so they don't find its way in. The company mines would pump toxin water into the rivers and streams. Everyone throw their rubbish in there, bathe in there, washing their dirty dishes and clothes. So water was sourced from out of town. We literally head out until we found a clean supply, a billabong, a lake, a river, a stream, whatever, and bucket your water into barrels and bring it back to your factory. You need to turn the tap on, isn't it? And my favourite is the colours. So present day, it's all artificial colouring, and we purchase in bulk powder form, but it's similar to those little bottles you've probably all got in your pantries at home. Now back in the day, there was no laws and regulations on what you could add to your confectionery, so anything went. So it got pretty nasty, some things, and pretty inventive. So we'll just touch on a few of the different colours that we use in no particular order. Black was squid ink. Squid ink's fine, it's nice and natural. What's the problem with using squid ink in Ballarat? Anyone? There's no squid in Ballarat. That's a pretty major problem. We can still get our hands on it coming from coastal areas. So if we had to substitute out, we'd just use chimney soot. And if I wanted a lovely brown colour, we would boil bark. So the firewood releases tannins. Green was a similar process. We used chlorophyll, which is a green in plant life. So we'll put definitely green grass to boil, spinach, algae, slimes, moss.
Oh, stick. No, open it.
Oh, Jackie, out there. Yeah, let's go get her a copy look for it, mate. It's out there somewhere. I was using it before. Yeah, so rusty water for yellow and orange colours. And the main colour of choice still is today, red. They use cochineal red. Cochineal red is extracted from the cochineal beetle. It's a little native beetle to Mexico. And the reason we used it during the gold rush is because when the Queen introduced her redcoat soldiers to the colony of Victoria, that's what they used to dye their jackets, the cochineal beetle. So she introduced the beetle here as well. It has since died out. It prefers desert sort of climates compared to a cold old Ballarat winter, but we still use cochineal red. Did big raspberry drop a look at. If you see our redcoat soldiers today at 1:30, wearing cochineal red coats, so check them out there. But cochineal red, not only does it look nice and vibrant, it's odourless and tasteless. Does anyone know that they've eaten cochineal red before?
Probably.
I'm going to put it out there. Probably nearly all of you would have it at some stage in your life. It is everywhere. You don't see it quite as much these days, pretty much since the pandemic. It's very expensive. It doesn't meet dietary requirements, so now some of the bigger companies are shying away from it for that reason. But yeah, if you're eating Cheetos or red jelly beans, Skittles, red snakes and frogs from Allen's, you would have eaten cochineal red.
Guinea beetles.
So you can see what happened to my first piece. I put it in a ball, I melted flat. That just indicates the toffee's not quite ready to be able to hold its shape. It's still a bit soft, so we just have to be patient. Let the toffee harden a little bit more. As I said, it's a hard boiled lolly. As soon as it's room temperature, it's going to be rock hard. And we've dropped it from 157 degrees, probably down to about 80, 75 degrees Celsius at the moment. That's why I keep putting my hands in flour. That was known as a poor man's glove. Present day, we are allowed to wear modernised gloves. It comes down to individual confectioner, but yeah, if you're wondering, we don't need to, but we're quite welcome to. And the fold into the toffee quite important. Skin starts to form where the toffee touches the table, so flip it over and just let that skin re-melt into the hot toffee. What are you doing, mate? Do you want to roll or not? Oh, too hot. Too hot? Okay, that's fine, mate. We've got aircon out the back. So anyway, Joel, if he does come out, Joel is a busy boy out the back. His job, you might be able to hear him now, jarring raspberry drops. As I said, he's their most popular seller. Joel spends his Wednesdays jarring the big large jars. You can see him in the lolly shop. 775 grams, so yeah, he does that. And he usually comes out, has a bit of a role for us between give him a bit of a break. And he works with us every Wednesday, and every Thursday Joel works with the gardening department. Alrighty, so the rolling machine I'm using came out on the ship with the family. As I mentioned, John was a pastry chef, but he was also making a bit of confectionery. And obviously the machine was built well, still going strong today, 175 years old. And the company who manufactured it are still in business to this day. We do keep in contact with them, they're in England. But yeah, they're offering spare parts for this model. If you need it, you don't. This thing can't break, it's crazy, it just keeps going. The only alteration that's been made, we did have to change the molds, which shape the confectionery. We have 6 different shapes. Ours are brass. The original was hand carved out of lead, so we're not allowed to use lead. Obvious reasons, causes lead poisoning, which causes memory loss issues in adults, development brain issues in children, and memory loss issues in adults.
I remember they didn't pick them.
We've all pressed out about 2,000 mollies in this batch. Now, so if we're having a fair crack, which we're not today, I'm going to own that, that's a hot, but 8 to 10 batches, we'll probably push out 5 today maybe. But yeah, we can really pump it out. Jackie over that side of the room, that's our lollipop / toffee apple station. So yeah, Granny Smith apple. If you haven't had those before, they're very sour. Deliberately so you get the sweet and the sour contrast. And leftover topping we can pour into our traditional lollipops, which are horse head and umbrellas. Once again, if you head down the lolly shop, you can see them all up on the counter. You have a bit of a look up nice and close, but yeah, very traditional lollipops. And they're going to taste if you want one. Horse head's $2, umbrellas $1. Really nice, like the original chocolate char, I suppose. It's just going to taste like fairy floss. Alright, this is a gluten-free flour mix. And protecting the lolly from the humidity in the room, which to be fair isn't too high today. It's only 44%. We like to work anything under 50%. We don't have too many issues, but still have to put a dust in the flour on. They will be sieved off a bit later on. And table preparation for the next batch. Canola oil on a chuck spot.
oil.
It used to be a big chunk of lard, animal fat, which on a day like this would be sitting at the back of your factory wrapped up in a Hessian bag, no refrigeration, so I'm sure it smelled lovely. But it was in Hessian to keep the flies off, to keep the maggots off, most of the time. So canola oil, chuck off a little bit more. So, a bit later on, in 10 minutes, as I said, I'm waiting for the lollies to get to room temperature. We'll run them through a sieve, good shake in there. We'll smooth off any sharp edges which form the crumb. The excess flour can fall through to keep that separated from the product. First piece. You can see even at this stage, it is it's not ready to be broken up. This was just purely for demonstration purposes, but you can see how it can take its shape. Because I broke some up, that means there are samples available. So, feel free to try a lolly. I'm just going to pass the tray over to you guys, pass it around to each other, grab a lolly. Highly recommended, people, you do not chew on these. Chewing on a hard-boiled lolly is going to end badly. Alright? And if you have to break, if you do break a tooth and you have to go to the dentist, our dentist, he's a blacksmith. He's a blacksmith, and nearly 12 o'clock, he's drunk at 12, so yeah, so keep that in mind. Try just suck on the lolly to last longer anyway. So thanks so much everyone for coming along. I hope you have a lovely day here at Summer. Really enjoy your sample. Any questions, fire away, we'll answer those. But if not, thanks for coming along. Yeah. Anyway, Jackie's about to dip some apples to it. Do you want to watch people? Yeah. You'll just be dipping, she won't be talking, but feel free to
Look how she does it. See? I remember making this at home once.
Mama, they're gonna pass the candies on.
No, but look how she does the apples. Isn't that cool? Let me go around here. Really closely. So cool. Lovely job. I now remember when I was a kid, I did it once at home with my mum. It's been so long, but I'm sure it was a big mess. As I haven't, I live in Canada now, so I've never seen them in Canada. I will have to. Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. Has everyone got one? Yeah.
That's so cool. We have to make it at home, Jenna. We'll get our grandma to heat it up. I don't trust myself. Remember when you can used to buy it at Coles or something?
Yeah, I remember they were everywhere, toffee apples, when I was growing up, but you just don't see them anymore.
They're very popular here.
Yeah, very occasionally.
Yeah.
Can you buy these at the shop as well, or?
Yeah, so these all go down to the shop.
No samples of those?
Unfortunately, no. But trust me, they're delicious.
I know, I grew up on them.
Are you going to? Good job.
All right.
Oh, cool, cool.
Thank you very much.
Bigger than that! Left wheel! Thank you, Constable. Right wheel! Right wheel! Squad! Halt! Squad by the right! Face! Order! Out! Standard! Eat! Stand easy, lads. Load up, cap up, do what you need to do. Good people of the township of Ballarat, citizens of Empire, I wish to inform you all that my men and I are wearing the colours and the uniform of Her Majesty's 40th 2nd Somersetshire Regiment of Foot. The 40th Regiment was formed in Nova Scotia, in what would come to be known as Canada, in the year 1717 under the command of Colonel Richard Phillips, who later went on to become governor of that colony. Since its inception, we have fought all over the world and served various majesties. Our first battle was the Battle of the Abraham Plains, where we helped defeat the French commander, the Marquis de Montcalm, thus claiming Canada for Great Britain! That was a pretty poor show of patriotism.
Oh, Canada!
I suggest you try harder next time. Since that time, we have fought all over the world. We have fought in the land of the Hindu in India. We have fought in the land of the Pharaoh in Egypt. We have fought in Iberia, the Spanish peninsula. Our last great battle was the Battle of Waterloo, where the Iron Duke himself, the Duke of Wellington, did personally congratulate these men for their honour and brave conduct on that battlefield. Since then, we have been relegated to this cloudy, windy, God-forsaken part of the world, where we took part in a small fracas, known to you locals as your Battle of the Eureka Stockade. Well, let me tell you something, folks. It was not much of a battle. We woke up early one Sunday morning, and we rolled right over the top of you. You miners did not realize you were up against one of Her Majesty's most highly decorated regiments of the line. In a moment, I will order my men to fire a series of shots in salute to Her Royal Majesty Queen Victoria. God save the Queen! God save the Queen! That was not bad, but I think you can do better, so we shall try that again. Up the Republic! Might I remind you, sir, my men just loaded their rifles! Constable, keep an eye on him, thank you. We shall try again. God save the Queen! God save the Queen! Music to my ears!
Of the Republic!
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I will warn you, these gunshots are loud! Therefore, if you are of a delicate disposition, I recommend you take your fingers and place them firmly into your ears. If you have children with you, make sure their or your ears are covered. Otherwise, their ears will be ringing. They will be crying, and it will not be my fault. Those of you on the road, please take a good 2 steps back. I want no part of anybody stuck in the road. Thank you very much. Squat! Order! Out! Advance! Out! Shoulder! Out! Drummer stand fast! Firing party, 1 pace forward! March! Last warning, ladies and gentlemen, put your fingers in your ears. I am not joking. Squad prepare to fire in series from the left. Port out. Present. Out. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Shoulder out. Order out.
Gunpowder. Just like the shotgun.
Do you really expect me to believe that so many people can only come up with that much applause? Now we come to the more enjoyable part of the day's proceedings, where some of you may wish to come in and have a photograph taken next to one of these pocket-sized Hercules.
Hercules.
God and his infinite wisdom.
Who's Henry?
Well. If it isn't the infamous Lola Montez, you require my attention, madam.
Why, sir? I merely wish to know why you found it acceptable to be at my table, drinking my port, drinking my sherry one moment, and then you slander my good name in this petty paper of yours the next? Why, sir, have you forgotten all of my kindnesses to you? Oh, clearly we see, ladies and gentlemen, the drink has got into his senses.
And you, madam, are well known for your loose morals.
Loose morals.
Or even looser fitting undergarments.
Henry, I half like to come down there to you.
I stand by every word that I wrote in my newspaper. This isn't honest. God, jury, we are good, family men. We want to see modesty, we want to see gentility. There is no place center of valor at the top, where we do shamelessly flaunt themselves in front of the young and the impressionable.
You know I'm a fine and upstanding woman, and I happen to be beloved by all you, sir.
The thing you got to understand is the troopers don't like the diggers, and the diggers don't like the diggers don't like the troopers. You got to watch this bit carefully, all right?
Okay, yep.
So the diggers don't like the troopers.
Yep.
And the troopers don't like the diggers.
Yep.
All right?
Yep.
So everywhere a digger goes, a trooper likes to follow. Everywhere a digger goes, a trooper likes to follow. Digger, trooper. But this is Ballarat.
That's not the right order.
Things are,
There you go.
yeah.
I just saw the way you had your cards.
That's because they don't.
I know. I
work.
saw the way you had your cards
All right.
underneath.
Then that one. That's okay. All right.
That's cool.
Because the diggers and the troopers don't need.
Don't like.
Yeah, it makes.
But this time the troopers said we'll go first,
Yeah.
and the diggers will turn up.
Yeah.
So a trooper went,
Yeah.
a digger followed.
Yeah.
Trooper went, a digger followed. But this is Ballarat. Things are different. And the diggers can always keep separate from the troopers. Alright? But
Very nice.
that's because this guy wasn't there. Now this guy turns up and he says, we're doing it all wrong. We're trying to follow them one at a time. We should do it all at the same time. Alright?
Right.
So this time, when the diggers turned up at the pub for a drink, the trooper says, right, what we'll do is we'll sneak in between them. We'll sneak in between them, and then at closing time, we'll catch them all at once. But guess what?
They're still
Bang, bang.
separated.
This is Ballarat. And at the end of the day, the diggers managed to keep completely separate from the troopers.
Oh my god.
Until...
Oh, another one.
Pick one of those.
Pick one, Chen.
Pick one,
Pick
Chen.
one. Oh, number 8. I'm not surprised you picked number 8 because number 8 is notorious.
It's good luck.
He gets caught all the time by the troopers. Do you know how many times he's been caught?
How many?
8
8
times.
times. You didn't know, but you got there. But he also escaped. Do you know how many times he's escaped?
How many times?
7. Hopefully this will be the 8.
Because on the 8th, yes.
Who knows?
All right.
So this time they put him in chains and they put him a padlock, and then the captain took him to the prison and put him in prison with the 2 guards either side, all night they kept there. But this is Ballarat, and at the end of the day, he still managed to escape, and it was the captain in chains. And this is a true story. And do you know how I know it's a true story?
How?
I was that digger. 8 times he's escaped.
I love it.
Well done. Bath crystals. How nice
Oh my god, look at
it
the
is.
saw.
Oh, what?
What did you say? I've got a few appointments there now if you would like.
I love it.
I wouldn't have bloody. He was the doctor, he was the dentist, and he was also the veterinarian, and he's successful.
The blood on the apron.
Love it. So, he's back in at 5 o'clock. Would you like an appointment?
No gosh.